to the hospital. Me and Bobby Kwame would go to the hospital to see him. He'd be laying up there and he'd be saying, "I'll be back, I'm coming out, I'll be ready to come back out there and deal with those boys again." And then I started to get illnesses myself, the older I got. And I always thought about Terry walking up that hill, you know, to get to the bus stop, to get to those boys. I mean, it was a good mile and a half and a hill to go up the hill to get just to the bus stop, to get over to our program to teach the boys. And he had just gotten toes cut off and what have you, and there he was struggling up that hill. And every time I would get down and sick, I would think about a number of people. My grandfather, Boss Stanley, his name was Boss, B-O-S-S. And Boss was probably one of the strongest men I ever seen in my life. So I thought about Boss a lot and the kinds of things that he would say, "Well, you better not give up." But in just looking at Terry, I wasn't around Boss a whole lot. So he would tell me stuff, but Terry would show me stuff. I could see he would never give up. He was always there. And if I had to have somebody to help me get through something, all I had to do was look around. There he was, standing right there, ready to step up. What we got to do, Bob. You know, he was just a strong brother, and he helped make me strong. And I'm not standing here talking about myself as though I'm some big, brave, strong person, but I'm saying that a number of the things that I've been able to do came to me through Baba Terry. He gave me the strength, the encouragement to go ahead and do whatever I could do. And I never felt like there was something that I could not do. When we was working with the youth, and we only worked with the boys during those times. We do girls now, but we only worked with boys then. There was nothing I did not feel I could get across to those boys. There was no concept that I didn't think that I could take, regardless how complex it seemed, that I could take it and break it down so that those boys could deal with it. Because Terry was always there saying, "Bobby, you can do it. You can do it." And he made me see how simple even the most complex things seem. Because he was an artist, and y'all see some of his artwork around here. But as an artist, he would make those youth break things down artistically. And that's when they really got an understanding of it. I never will forget the piece about knowing your ancestry, and he made them draw those family trees. And, you know, some of the ugliest trees I ever seen in my life. But they knew this is Grandpa so-and-so, this is Aunt so-and-so, this is Aunt so-and-so. And they really got an understanding of where they came from. Us living in America, having gone through slavery, it's really difficult for us to trace our ancestry back. Because once you get to slavery, you got some real problems, because we were not considered humans. We were considered property. And so a lot of times when people found their ancestors during slavery, they would find it in books of title books, where they would the slave master would go to town and he would buy a wagon wheel, 2 hammers, and a nigger. Well, the nigger was Uncle June, you know, and that's how you'd find who your first folks was, looking at the property list that the master had. So it was difficult for us to find it. But Terry found a way to get those children to understand what ancestry was and how you trace it back. Even if you run into some problems, at least you go back as far as you can go, because knowing yourself and knowing what you came from is so very important. And that's what he gave to me. We put pictures of Bob Terry right there, in the back, on the doors, because I wanted Terry to be watching y'all while he was in here, so he could give y'all some of that energy, some of that strength that he has. And I know he's doing that, and I know he's smiling down on us right now, saying, "Thank y'all for being here, and thank y'all for the work that y'all doing." That's the kind of brother he was. On behalf of our organization, I just want to say thank you to Baba Terry, and that I will continue until I can't breathe no more. I'm going to continue to do the work that he started and that he put forth out there, because it's in me to do that as well. So thank y'all.
The role of history is to tell people where they have been and where they have been, what they are and where they are. The most important role that history plays is that it has the function of telling people where they still must go and what they still must be. I have been taught, we have been taught, and we must still continue to teach that to know your history is to know your genius. And to know your genius is to know your power. Some of the lessons that we should get out of history and pass on to our children is to ask them, do they know where they've come from? And if they don't, we need to teach them. And it needs to happen every day, on a daily basis. We need to ask them, what are some of the things that they know about their family members? We need to ask them some of the things about the things they're attached to, their interests in their community. What accomplishments have they made, or would they like to make? Some accomplishments maybe their ancestors have made. What are their strengths? What are our strengths? What are your strengths? What are our weaknesses? Some of these things need to come out of the lessons that we are teaching the community and our families, the questions that we need to continue to ask. Who has been our friend? Who has been our enemy? How did you get to where you are? Where do you need to go? And what is your best option for getting there? I want to leave you with a quote by the Honorable Marcus Garvey. A people without knowledge of their past history or origin and culture is like a tree without roots. Santi Santi. Was an African historian, teacher, author, and journalist. He was also the founder of the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. He was so passionate about the importance of us knowing who we are, where we came from, that in February 1926, he established the celebration Black History Week, but we now know as African History Month, where instead of 7 days, we celebrate and learn about the importance of us for 30 days.
Or 28.
In 1936, he wrote a classic book, The Miseducation of the Negro. And it had this quote in it. When you control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his actions. You do not have to tell him to stand here or go yonder. He will find his proper place and will stay in it. You do not need to send him to the back door. He will find it. And if he doesn't have a back door, he will cut one for his own special benefits. His education makes it necessary. During the month of February, whenever we have a program or an emphasis on art history, let us revive and keep alive the memory of Honorable Dr. Carter G. Woodson. Thank you.
All right.
Rest cannot rest. We who believe in freedom will not rest.
our program. It talks about an overview of our history. So the piece I was asked to read was the origin of the golden age of Africa. All right, so the origin of humankind began in Africa, of course. After years of European archaeologists and geologists swearing that humankind began in Asia, a European archaeologist, Louis Leakey, and his wife Mary discovered the oldest remains ever found of human beings. They found the human remains determined to be over 2 million years old in the, and help me with something, by George, Tanzania, East Africa, in 1959. That was what was found by the Leakey guy. Once these people developed in Africa, they walked in groups to other areas and eventually peopled the entire world. Artifacts, buildings, statues, and other linkages to ancient African culture have been found all over the world, proving that Africans came there and left their mark. But for those of us who stayed at home in Africa, we developed the highest level of civilization anywhere. And it was the development of African civilizations that spawned the development of other civilizations everywhere. It all started with us. Of course, the highest level of African civilization culminated in the Nile Valley with ancient Kemet, or Egypt, as most folks know it by, being the centerpiece of it all. The first African civilizations began in the areas then known as southern Sudan, Punt, and Kush. The Africans started to gather around the Nile River, then known as the Happy River, because of the fertility of its riverbanks. They developed cities with monuments, education centers, learning guilds, and grew food all the way, to the river delta in Cairo, Egypt. It was the Nile Valley civilization that attracted people from all over the world to come and study the teachings of African culture and to develop scholastic and building skills under expert African mentorship. It was also during the Nile Valley civilization that non-Africans came with the idea of conquering and taking over. We know that's what they do, right? As well as internal attempts at takeovers as well. But the civilization was so strong and well organized that it lasted for over 4,000 years, from around 3200 BCE to 642 ACE, when it was finally conquered by Arabs. The takeover caused many Africans to resettle elsewhere in Africa, leading to the establishment of other great civilizations, such as in Mali, Songhai, I hope I'm saying that right, Ghana, Zimbabwe, and other places. Studying this period of African history shows clearly that we were a great people, and that it's possible for us to be great again. Ooh, I like that part, that it's possible for us to be great again. It also shows that the primary reason we reached such greatness was the spirituality, culture, principles, and values we developed and adhered to. Ashe.